Today, we're taking a blast to the past as we highlight one of the biggest trades in the NHL of the 2020s and how things almost looked a lot different than how they really went. You see, today we're talking about Vegas Golden Knights superstar center Jack Eichel, a guy that at one point was seen as the 1B to the 1A in Connor McDavid in the 2015 NHL Entry Draft. A guy that was destined for franchise-defining things later in his career. Jack Eichel was almost everything that the second overall Buffalo Sabres wanted to get. Almost. You see, he played a number of years with the Sabres, but the unfortunate part about it was all of these years were a part of a pretty measly and non-winning team. Jack Eichel scored 82 points in 77 games in his career best with Buffalo, but the Sabres just sucked so bad. Add to this injury issues that resulted in Eichel wanting to get a surgery that the Buffalo Sabres straight up did not want him to get, and it all culminated into a big trade saga which spanned months. We saw all these teams getting involved in the Jack Eichel trade conversation. We saw the trade price getting discussed to hell and back. And inevitably, Jack Eichel was sent over to the Vegas Golden Knights, where he inevitably found himself as a point-per-game superstar, multi-time 90-point player, a Stanley Cup winner, and really, that's where he became what he is now. Eichel was always good in Buffalo. He's taken another step in Vegas, but of course, Vegas is a much better team than Buffalo is, so you can understand how the help by committee really does play a part. Let's talk today, though, about the other team that Jack Eichel almost got traded to, and it comes to us via an article posted on the Win column. What if Jack Eichel landed on the Calgary Flames instead of Vegas in 2021? From Matthew Tkachuk to Cup Dominoes, here's the breakdown of the trade package that almost was, and its massive butterfly effect. This article is going to be linked in the description. It's a really cool piece posted by Matt Herron earlier this week. Jack Eichel and the Flames, the trade that could have been. This article talks about the herniated cervical disc that Jack Eichel suffered, how the Sabres wanted Eichel to have traditional spinal fusion work, but how Eichel wanted to do the artificial disc surgery instead. Buffalo said no, management stripped Eichel of his captaincy, and he was officially being traded. Here is the trade that almost was. Almost every GM picked up the phone and tried to swing their best offer. However, Eichel confirmed in a 2023 interview that the two finalists were Vegas and Calgary. According to Kevin Weeks, the Calgary Flames offer for Eichel was this. The Flames would receive Jack Eichel and likely another player to make the money work, and the Sabres reportedly wanted Matthew Tkachuk, a first-round pick, a former first-round pick, or, if rumors are to be believed, Mangiapane, and two prospects. Brad Treliving wasn't willing to go there. In hindsight, Matthew Tkachuk left the following summer and Mangiapane turned into a bottom-six winger. It's disappointing. According to Elliot Friedman, the wheels fell off a potential deal after this. I've said this many times, Friedman said. I think Calgary was in this the whole way. There have been some reports that they were close. I don't like to say I'm any smarter or better than anybody else. I'm just saying what I've heard. I don't know if they were ever close. As a matter of fact, I was told they weren't close, but they were always there, and they were always trying to find a way to make it work. I think they were willing to deal some of their top prospects. I think they were willing to deal upcoming first-round picks. I think they were looking to deal maybe a player or two off the roster, but they didn't have anyone that Buffalo liked as much as Krebs, and they didn't have anyone that Buffalo thought would be as excited to go there as Tuck. And that's what I heard the two big strikes were against Calgary. The other thing, too, is I think Buffalo asked about Tkachuk, and I think they asked about Mangiapane, and Calgary just wasn't willing to go there. I know it got out. I don't like shooting down other people's reports. I've had that done to me. I don't like it. The internet was set afire by the whole Tkachuk thing the night before the trade was made. I really think by that time, everybody knew Eichel was going to Vegas. Now, this article goes into a really cool butterfly effect. What happens if Calgary and Buffalo make that deal? What happens if Brad Treliving says, okay, fine, you can take Tkachuk, you can take Mangiapane, you can take our prospects, you can take our picks, we'll get Jack Eichel, thank you very much. A line of Gaudreau, Eichel, Lindholm leading the way for an already dominant Flames team would surely have been a contender. Now, could they have taken down the monster 2022 Cup champ Avalanche team? Probably not, but this deal would have changed the trajectory of the Flames organization entirely. With Gaudreau and Tkachuk gone by the summer of 2022, Eichel would have been the new face of the franchise. The Battle of Alberta featuring McDavid and Eichel would have been electric. A return to the playoffs in 2023 and a subsequent Battle of Alberta rematch from 2022 would have been pure cinema. The butterfly effect goes even deeper than that. If Eichel was a Flame, the ongoing Flames rebuild wouldn't have happened. Behind the scenes, Eichel's close friend and former Calgary Flame Noah Hanifin would have extended in Calgary. Now, I think as well, you also have to think about the repercussions of what actually went down with the Matthew Tkachuk trade for Calgary when it was made, because the big piece that they were able to get in that deal was Jonathan Huberdeau, arguably seen as one of, if not the absolute worst contracts in the National Hockey League right now. $10.5 million a year for a guy who had 25 points last season. Say what you want about injuries, but Huberdeau has fallen off of a cliff ever since getting sent over to Calgary from Florida. 115 points to 55 points in the span of a year. The guy dipped by 60 gosh darn points. Even Matthew Tkachuk, he went out there and did the same gosh darn thing. He had 104 points in Calgary. Next season, 109 points with the Florida Panthers. Matthew Tkachuk lived up to everything that he was supposed to be in Florida, and I get it, the Panthers are a much better team than Calgary, but he was still able to make it work. Huberdeau absolutely could not. Meanwhile, Jack Eichel, yes, he did need to take some time to adjust back to playing NHL hockey after the surgery, but he still was able to come back and be an immediate point-per-game threat upon being fully healthy. Dominating the Stanley Cup playoffs, dominating the regular season. I mean, you look at it, Jack Eichel is way over a point-per-game player for Vegas in both the regular season and in the playoffs. You just can't match this guy. He didn't play any playoff games with the Buffalo Sabres, but in Vegas, he's got 65 points in 62 postseason contests. If Calgary has this kind of guy available to them, doesn't matter what happens with the inevitable departure of Tkachuk and Gaudreau. Eichel is that dog. Him and Lindholm together, they would have been awesome. Who knows if Johnny Gaudreau decides to stay a little bit longer, which I'm not honestly too sure that would actually happen. I feel like a lot of the departure from Calgary was due to his wife's career, so obviously we respect that, but still, what could have been if Jack Eichel, Johnny Gaudreau, and Lindholm formed a line together? This article then goes out there and asks even more questions. Would Brad Treliving have remained the GM? Would Daryl Sutter still be behind the bench? The possibilities are endless. But also, the Vegas Golden Knights would not be the powerhouse they are today, and their 2023 Cup win may never have come to fruition. Eichel going to Calgary instead of Vegas would have changed the NHL as we see it. We could be sitting here talking about a Flames Cup dynasty. But we aren't, and this may remain one of the biggest what-ifs in Calgary Flames history. So with all that said, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about the trade that could have been? The almost trade. The Jack Eichel to Calgary almost deal that set the Pacific Division on fire. Thoughts in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.